Hey, everybody, welcome back to Chortle Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, and with me, as always, the Stream King, the Far Cry Guy, the man who may cry devil, and the guy who's seen the light, Steven.
Can we start every episode with you going, hey, guys?
Well, I'm sorry. I was laughing because in my haste to set up this new OBS setup for the podcast with featuring 3 people, because we were also joined by we call him Big G. No, we call him Big Germ, but his name's Jeremy.
Yeah, that one.
Sometimes he's Big G.
No, the second one.
He's using a bow now, so that he's winning a lot of points for me. So I appreciate him. Jeremy's here as well.
It's the Ranger bow.
Y'all both using bows now. This is great.
It's so good.
You would enjoy.
I'm sure I would. Ladies and gentlemen, this is of course Chortle Cast, the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. We've got a great show for you this week. Lots of fun news that we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about the Horizon Forbidden West state of play. We're going to talk about the Dying Light 2 new game title and new release date. We're going to talk about Far Cry 6's release date officially being announced, and lots of other fun news about that. And then probably where we should start, but I want to at least get into what we're talking about. We're also going to talk about Watch Dogs is apparently dropping a Legion of the Dead mode, which is its kind of...
Watch Dogs reminded us that it exists.
In the best possible way.
I'm on board. I'm
of
for
all the ways it could happen.
Listen, anything zombies, I'm down for.
Well, before we get into that, I do have to say this is our 200th episode of Chortle Cast. So big round of applause. Big round of applause.
Did you say big round of applause?
Big round of applause for us. Pat yourself on the back, Steven. We've done it.
One round of applause for everyone.
Everyone take applause. It's been a fun time.
Do you want applause? You know what? Whole round of applause for the table.
Everyone at the table gets applause.
Next round of applause on me.
It's been a great time. So this is weird. I'm not getting any. I just realized I'm not getting any chat, and I was just sitting here thinking, like, that's weird. There's no chat. What's up, Ro? What's up, Vortex? What's up, JJ? Thanks for tuning in.
You are getting chat, because my chat is not showing any chat, and it also shows that we're not live on one.
Yeah,
source.
I don't know what's up with that either, but that's what Periscope is being a booty, Jeremy, but no big deal.
Jeremy, is your stream working? Is your
it's
chat
working. It's all there, but the chat for whatever reason is not pulling up. So
check.
Yeah, Jeremy, check restream and let me know.
Anyway, very weird stuff.
Because I may just need to open up the YouTube. Yeah.
So before we do begin, of course, the podcast airs every Monday night, usually around 7:00. We're starting a little late tonight because Steven went swimming with otters, which I want to hear about at some point here in a second. But
I did.
we always, when we live stream the podcast on youtube.com/ChortleGames, also ChortleGames.com. We'll get you to the same place. We stream on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Chortle_games, on Twitter @ChortleGames, and on Facebook @ChortleGames if you want to find either of those. So lots of fun stuff, places you can catch us if you want to watch. Of course, while we do the podcast, we're all playing different games. So Steven and Jeremy, who you can see if you're watching live, you can see Steven and Jeremy at the top of your screens.
I'm failing to
They're
pick
playing
this
Dying Light 2, and I am playing Oblets, which is this cool little like Animal Crossing meets Pokemon meets weird dancing thing. I don't know. I've wanted to play it for the longest time. Originally, it was supposed to come out on the Switch. They bailed on the Switch and went with Epic Games. And now that I have a PC, this has been on one of my top lists of games to like finally get to play. So I'm playing it eventually. And I'm having a great time. Vortex is in the chat. He's asking if we saw our dog versions of ourselves, which is a great segue to if you want to join our Discord, you can get to it in the link. If you go to chortlegames.com, that'll take you to our YouTube page. On the banner there's a Discord button. You go there. That'll get you to the Discord.
Some of our people, the people that post in the memes channel, are on a roll with quality meme content.
Gold.
Yes.
That RoboCop 2021 video I have shown to every person I've seen.
It's so funny. When he digs up Uncle Ben, and it's just another RoboCop.
It's just old RoboCop.
It's been
Sorry,
So
spoilers,
good.
but it's
it's
too
a
good.
great time.
You can still experience. My restream is not working either, Steven. No.
Yeah, you guys
Interesting.
probably
All
just
right,
need to
we'll
pull
see
up
that
a YouTube chat because that side I can't see. Restream's acting up for whatever reason. Yeah, so I did see those Vortex. They were amazing. Really, really liked mine. And Stevens. Stevens was a favorite of mine as well.
Phenomenal.
Jeremy's was my favorite. Actually, no, Austin's was my favorite. That was a deep cut, and I loved it.
All right, so Steven, before we really dive into some of this gaming news, the reason we're starting so late tonight is because you went to swim with otters. What's that about? What's the story there?
So for Anna's birthday, like 2 years ago, I told her, "Hey, we're gonna go otter swimming."
It
She
took you
loves
2
otters.
years.
Wow,
Yes,
Steven.
COVID
Wow.
happened. Shut up.
What'd I tell you, Jeremy? What'd I tell you? You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. 2 years. No, COVID. That's a thing.
Yeah. Also, I'm very good procrastinator. Also, I can't pick this freaking lock.
It's very hard.
Literally, the difficulty is very hard.
Yeah, it's a very hard lock.
So we went to, oh my God, we went to Louisiana to go to an animal reservation. Preservation.
Reservation.
And they had a bunch of animals there. Animal preserve. Let's call it that. We had a bunch of animals there. They had a porcupine named Owen Quilson, which was amazing.
Gold.
Absolute gold.
I love that.
Got 2 pouches from that box.
I also did. They had a camel. They had a giraffe named T'Challa.
I love that the giraffe's name is T'Challa. Like, that is such a random but excellent name for a giraffe.
Yep. Like, it's literally just because he's from Africa. Because, like, if there was an animal that I would say, like...
I'm just kidding.
Well, no, like... Because he's... Oh, shut up. So, if there's one animal that I would just have never named T'Challa, based on, like, similarities to a panther, it's a giraffe.
Wait.
You know,
wait.
One of these things is not like the other.
Wait a minute. Steven, in your head, what is similar between a giraffe and a panther? Please.
Nothing. That's why I said if there was one that I wouldn't name T'Challa, it would be a giraffe because it's not like a panther.
I misunderstood you there.
Yeah, like I just see like these animals, you know, with the Avengers outfits on, and I just it's a giraffe. Like panther outfit. It doesn't work.
How would it Wakanda forever?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Why can't you Wakanda forever?
Why can't you Wakanda forever to challenge the giraffe? You're a fraud.
You're a fraud.
My arms.
Like you just screaming my arms.
Yeah.
It'd probably use its tongue.
My hooves.
Did you know that a giraffe's tongue is 1-to-1 to its height, to where like if it's 16 feet tall, it has a 16-inch long tongue?
I
did not
feel like
that.
I knew some version of that fact, but that is news to me.
Well, now you know the exact
version
my
for
version.
now.
Yes. But yeah, we saw a lot of animals. There are a bunch of pictures on the Discord. But the big reason we went was because we got to end the day by swimming with 3 otters. They were young otters, so they were very playful and very energetic.
They were young otters.
Their names were Peanut Butter, Jelly, and Whiskers. That's 3 otters, 1 peanut butter, 1 jelly, and 1 Whiskers. Whiskers was the only male. He was a troublemaker, and he was great.
That was one of my favorite shows as a kid.
Whiskers?
No, PB&J.
Oh yeah, that was a good one, Jeremy. I know exactly what I'm talking about.
The name is ringing a bell, but that's it.
It was
literally PB&J.
Yeah, it was on Disney, and it was these 3 little kid otters that were named PB and J, and yeah, they were very cute. It was
when was it on? Like the 90s, late 80s?
Oh gosh, I'd say 2000s, but it could have been late 90s.
Yeah, late 90s. early 2000s for sure.
Thank you,
Gotcha.
Jeremy, for saying that correctly. I was like early 2000s, late
That has
90s.
I got
that
you
has-
guys. See, that's why I'm here. That's the only
Has a
reason.
very late
Grammatically
90s.
correct you guys.
Has a very late 90s naming scheme where they just take a play on words and they make an entire show about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
But anyway, we got to swim with otters. It was really fun. They loved to there were like 6 or 8 of us. We were just hanging out in the pool for an hour with the otters. They love to swim
I
up
love
your
that
shirt.
they put you in
and
there
they
for
would
an
give-
hour like that. I feel like I took my wife and my mom dolphin swimming with dolphins, and they got maybe like 5-10 minutes. Like it was a you're in, you're out.
We were in there
done.
45 minutes to
That's
an hour.
amazing.
Because they were just hanging out, and they would swim into our shirts, and they would either give you a rock as like a gift. They would come to you and be like, "Here, I want you to have this rock."
That's the
It's
cutest
like that. It's
thing
like that
ever.
vine of that little
they-
girl.
They
where
would
she's-
sexually harass you and then be like, "Rock."
Well, they would give you a rock, or they would sexually harass you by using your shirt as a place to store
it.
rocks. For the women in particular, they would think that certain
This is getting
crevices
inappropriate.
were pockets to store rocks. So
That's fantastic.
the caretaker for the otters, she was telling us that one time a woman that was doing the swim with them, so the otters like teamed up and literally pulled out one of her breasts because they were like, this is in the way.
Oh no!
You out of here?
They're like, what's this doing in our rock pocket? Let's get it out of here. Thankfully that didn't happen to anyone. It just
Teamed up. I just imagine like 2 otters with little hard hats on, and they're like, "All right, we got to get this thing going, guys.
We gotta haul this out of here.
How do we
Oh, man.
maximize our rock storage here?"
All right, guys, we got to
That's great.
maximize our rock storage. Get this crap out of here.
Just standing over blueprints, and he's like, just one points to it, and he's like, "We got to get this out of here, guys. Needs to go.
Everyone's like, come on,
We don't have dynamite."
We don't have dynamite.
we got red tape all over here. Our hands are tied. Oh
That's
man.
awesome.
But yeah,
Just send in the
Just
team.
send it-
send it to I'll deal with the paperwork later. Just get it out of here. Oh man.
Wow.
So yeah, they didn't do that to any of the women there, thankfully.
Hopefully they've had a good talking to with
But-
HR and
They did swim into a bunch of people's shirts.
Oh, guys.
It was really cute. I've got a picture that I'll post to the Discord later of one of the otters was poking out of Anna's shirt hole, like the neck hole, and so they were like sharing a neck hole, and it was like looking at the camera. It was so
very
cute.
cool.
Oh, that's
Love
awesome.
it.
But yeah, strong recommend. It was a great time. That's it. I got sunburnt, so 8 out of 10. The sunbird.
Just because
took away
the
a couple
sunburn
points.
lost you some points there. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Very
fine.
cool. Yeah, you guys can check out some of the photos Steven did post in the Discord there if you want to check that
Yep.
out. So,
I posted a
And
picture
evidently,
of-
I'm a giant kangaroo.
Yes.
oh,
yes.
it's like
you
Swole.
are.
yeah, that
Yeah, Swole. His name was Big Red, and he like I learned a lot about kangaroos. Like I feel like I knew.
I think you learned a lot about a lot of things.
I did.
Which is awesome.
Like for example, the cassowary is
The what?
probably the most cassowary. It's a type of flightless bird.
okay.
It is probably the most dangerous bird on Earth because they have no fear and they think that anyone and anything is trying to attack them. So they try to kill anything and everything that they see.
Oh, geez.
For example, the caretaker was telling us a story about a man in Florida. Of course, it was Florida, who was on the phone with 911 because he was like, "Hey, my cassowaries are attacking me," and they were like, "Hold on, you're gonna be fine." And he said to them, "Like, no, I'm not gonna make it. My guts are on the floor." And he
Oh my
died on the
God.
phone with 911 because his cassowaries kicked him to death.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Terrifying.
Yeah, you know the scene in Jurassic Park when the main guy is telling the kid about how raptors will gut their their prey. That was.
Are you
based
saying
on,
a cassowary is just another word for a velociraptor?
Yes, the cassowaries were named Blue and Delta. So
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Yeah, they based that description
This-
on how cassowary deal with.
I want to donate all of the monies to this place
I've
just
got it.
on the basis of their naming.
Yes,
Like, that's it.
I've got pictures of the cassowaries. They don't look that threatening, but but they will kill you.
But evidently they can eviscerate a man.
Yeah. Straight up disemboweled him.
It's terrible.
So just to bring in some things here from the chat, Ro is saying that she's, since we've talked about TV shows and Steven's talking about animals, she's like, has anybody ever heard of Zaboomafoo? And I would just like to insert here that, yes, I have heard of Zaboomafoo, and I loved Zaboomafoo as a child. And then also to answer Akib's question, which is, what on earth is Jake playing? I'm playing a game called Oblitz, which I've been looking very forward to playing, but I have needed a PlayStation not a PlayStation, a PC to play it. So there you go.
One of those other things with fans and graphics cards.
Things you name.
Yeah, those fans, those are great. So,
well, mine's like all RGB. That's the other, like half of my system is fans.
that's true.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we've done enough chit chat. Let's get into the news. So,
oh, actually, real quick, there was also one more animal. Just because Courtney is looking up animals, and I forgot the name of this one. There's an animal that looks like a combination of a cat and a bear, but it has neither of those animals in its lineage.
Okay.
And it's super cute. It looks kind of goofy though, but it's super long and has a tail that it can use to like grab onto trees and stuff. And it was named so long ago by a dead language, so no one knows what the name of the animal actually means. So good luck finding.
What was it called again?
I don't know. I forgot the name of the animal. But it was really interesting.
That doesn't really help. So.
Like I will text. I will put a picture in the Discord of this mysterious animal, this mysterious cat bear. It was really cute though. It came up and peed in front of us, not on us, but in front of us.
Oh, that's nice at least.
Yeah. It was
Vortex.
very kind
This podcast is all about madness. And speaking of madness, today, Watch Dogs Legion announced a new mode, or I guess DLC, called Watch Dogs Legion of the Dead. And I'm going to read a little bit about it, and then we can discuss it, gentlemen. Watch Dogs Legion is announcing its new zombie mode. I'm trying to get to the meat of it. And it launches tomorrow, June 1st, as part of the title update 4.5, which is very interesting.
I think it's going to be free, but honestly, because Bloodlines comes out next month. That's the Aiden Pierce DLC. Cut up Akib. He said, "Get that milk going, baby."
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's good. But I'm actually going to get the season pass now because I think it's on sale for $10 off. And I want Bloodlines.
Right. We've been excited about that.
I want to try this mode because it's 4-player co-op.
Let me get through it.
Zombies.
Let me get through here. So it turns Watch Dogs into an undead fighting PvE roguelite for up to 4 players. The development team. Those are all the words Steven likes, except for 4 players. Now he's a little nervous because he's like, how many players can I get together?
Am I forced to have 4 players?
Steven, I guarantee. How much money you want to put down right now? I guarantee you will be forced with 4 players. You remember when we played Watch Dogs Legion online?
I remember. I will put $100 down on the forced to have 4 players in matchmaking pool, and everyone's going to put that money towards the same thing. So no one's going to win anything. We all lose because there's going to be no money in the opposing thing, and Watch Dogs is going to make us have 4 players, even though no one's going to play it. So it's just not going to work.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I know as dumb as that sounds, that's all that's in this article. Is just that it's an undead fighting PvE roguelite for up to 4 players. It doesn't mention if it's free.
IGN has gameplay.
Yeah, there is a 22-minute gameplay that you could probably break down some stuff there. But anywho, I
watched a little bit of it. And it looks like you're going to use actual guns, so that's good.
Do you not use actual guns in the main game?
Well, I mean, remember in Legion, everyone had like stun guns, except people who had actual guns in their character description. Because it was all the electric stun guns, remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
But in this, it looks like you use actual like bullets, and there's going to be, of course, drones and stuff that you can use to distract zombies. It looks like it has potential, but I think they've been alpha testing it on PC, so it's still going to be very rough when it comes out tomorrow. I'm just gonna assume.
I mean, yeah, most of the game has been pretty rough, so we'll see
Yeah.
how well it goes.
Apparently, they've made some good improvements, but we'll see. Because like now you can change some appearance options of all of your operatives, like hair and stuff. That's a big improvement.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's why I'm curious to get back into it, because I was waiting till the online to get into it, but then I realized the online was garbage. So I'm gonna just go back into the single player and see how much better it's gotten.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm excited because I'm kind of, Jeremy, you said this earlier, like any game mode you can get, like or like any zombie mode, like I'm all in. So I'm really curious. I like that it's PvE. I'm curious what the roguelite elements are going to be like.
I assume it's going to be, you start with basically nothing, and as you find upgrades, you get to pick between a series of upgrades, kind of like Gunfire we were showing you, where you get like one of three. I think I saw a screen like that where you get to pick between a few options each time you get an upgrade. I watched like maybe accumulated 20 seconds of the gameplay, and I bounced around because we were in the car all day. But I did see a screen where it looked like they were picking upgrades. But I assume that's going to be the deal, is that it's roguelite because you were trying to get from you're trying to finish whatever the challenge is. I don't know if it's going to be like a series of biomes or just trying to get from point A to B in the city or what, but I assume that it's got some kind of long-term progression on the front end that, you get better as you play, but that kind of thing. But that has me excited because those are always pretty engaging.
Yeah, I'm excited too because I wanted to like Watch Dogs, but I just couldn't get into it. So hopefully this will give us something to a new mode to enjoy, and hopefully it's deep enough that it'll keep us going back into it. So
I'm curious what they're going to do with characters. Like, are we going to just say play Dead Legion and we hop in as a random person, or do we get to kind of influence what character we get to be or whatever? I really hope that we have some kind of choice, because I really don't want to have to like play as an old woman or a guy stuck in booty shorts with a mohawk.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I mean, as much as I enjoy that, I understand where you're coming from.
I just want to have some control of it.
No.
Like, give me options. Just like with upgrades, give me like 3 options and let me pick the one that is the least bad.
Hopefully they'll at least be reasonable about it. Someone just screamed.
That was a laugh. That was a laugh. I was going, ha!
Ha, because they won't be reasonable?
Yes. It's Ubisoft.
Speaking of Ubisoft, we got some new information on Far Cry 6. We have an official release date of October 7th. Ubisoft finally revealed the release date during a Far Cry 6 stream.
Well, they'd given us a release date before, but I mean, it's just changed.
Oh yeah,
so
everything's
much.
changing, and I don't.
This one feels legit though. Like,
Yeah,
this feels
legit. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Like the rest of the series, Far Cry 6 will pit players against a vicious leader. In this case, the fascist dictator Antoine Castillo, who is played by
Giancarlo
Esposito. Castillo will be featured guiding his son Diego in the midst of a revolution. Far Cry 6 will feature the all-familiar trappings of Ubisoft's open-world series, including animal companions, one of which is a cute little wiener dog in a wheelchair who's like the best.
Chorizo.
His name is Chorizo, and he is everything.
Amazing.
I'm gonna buy this game because of that dog.
I don't blame you. You get a crocodile companion. That was another one that they showed off. Lots of strange weapons, and it will undoubtedly have Far Cry's typical sense of humor, which can be very weird. So, Steven, what did you? I assume you got to watch some of this. Where?
I finally did, because I was working on something when it was live, and I realized like 45 minutes after it ended, I was like, "Oh yeah, I was waiting for this." So I went and watched it. and they is typical Ubisoft
Right.
reveal. Gameplay that looks like it's
Mhm.
solid. A bunch of things that make me worry a ton about
Right.
the story. I'm expecting the story to
Mm-hmm.
suck. But you know, they hit just enough things to where I'm like, okay, yeah, you've got me. For one, you know, the companions. I love the animal
Mhm.
companions in Far Cry, but also it sounds like they are going to put more of a focus on um, it being a liberation rather than just you're in enemy territory and everything is trying to constantly kill you in open fire. Like, because it looks like you can be non-hostile in towns and kind of hide the fact that you're in the resistance. More of like long-term kind of gameplay, I guess, what Ghost Recon Wildlands should have been. So that's nice because it's less of just run in, shoot and kill this stuff, get out, everything's trying to kill you, and more of like methodical. That's possible. I'm just kind of going off of assumption here. It looks like there's going to be a lot of improvised weaponry. One of them was what looked to be a CD player that launches CDs at people like razor
Love it.
discs, but it plays music while you launch CDs. That was pretty good. The protagonist is going to be like the player character is going to have actual personality again, which is something they haven't really done since 3 with Jason Brody, which is where the series peaked, in my opinion. And ever since, they've taken the approach of silent protagonist because, one, a few butthurt people said that Jason Brody was a white savior story, so they didn't want to offend anybody, which is just kind of the story of every Ubisoft game that's ever existed, is that they tried to stop offending people. So they started making sure that each character was from the ethnicity of where the game takes place, which is admirable. But I've always been in the preference of just like, that's great if you want to do that, but make sure that's not all you do. Make them a character, make them a person.
Don't make it feel forced.
Right, exactly. Like Ajay Ghale from Far Cry 4.
Mm.
It was just like they made a big deal. They were like, "Oh yeah, he's a Karat native," and that's basically as far as they went.
Yeah, they didn't go any further.
Yeah, that's basically that was his entire personality. He was from there, which I think it's great that they're trying to do that, but it's an insult when you think that your job is done after you've just made the character native from the country, because like everyone has their own personality, like everyone is a unique individual.
Right.
So, I mean, I am not defined by being a white American.
Right.
So when Far Cry 5 is like, oh yeah, we're going to America, and the character is just insert white male or female here, it's like you did nothing to try to make this character exist, you know? So on one hand, the character, is it Danny? Danny's the main character's name?
I don't remember that. But that sounds right.
Well, the player character is native from I forget what the country is, but it's supposed to reflect Cuba, I think. But they are from the country, but they also have like a speaking role, and they're in cutscenes and stuff, which is a good sign. But they pulled an Assassin's Creed, and Danny, or whatever their name is either male or female. So I'm fully expecting them to be very boring. Because Ubisoft really sucks at giving characters definition if they have the option of male or female. That's one of the things that worries me. But it's not all bad, because they're actually trying to make, well, they're quote unquote trying to make them a character by at least putting them in cutscenes and stuff. Because the deputy or whatever he was in Far Cry 5 didn't even have a speaking line. He was just there. So, you know, one step forward, one step back. But the gameplay looks good. It looks samey, but just enough change to be interesting. Story, I don't know. I love Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that's how you pronounce his first name. I love him.
I really hope I hope they do him justice and give him enough to do in the game to really shine, because he is a fabulous actor.
He is one of the best. He is one of the best villain actors out there right now. And I hope he really gets the chance
Yeah.
to show that. But Far Cry in the past has at least tried to make its villains center stage. Like Voss set the stage for that. And this is why I say 3 is where the series peaked, because not only did we get a really great main character driven story through Jason, but we also got Voss, who was such a standout role that Ubisoft's been trying to replicate him ever since, and that's been 9 years. So I hope that he's given as much room to really shine as Voss did. So we'll see. I don't know. I just got a bad feeling about the story, but I'm gonna play it and it's gonna be fun. Like it's the typical Ubisoft story. Like it's diminishing returns, but you're still getting a fun experience usually.
Usually.
So that's kind of where I am. Looks pretty. Chorizo looks adorable, and I love that they made him a handy capable dog. That's so cute.
His attack face is like the cutest, funniest thing ever.
He's like, I'm strong. I'm a big wolf.
Strong boy.
Typical little dogs.
Oh yeah, little dogs always think they're way bigger than they are.
Minnie.
I've been attacked by more chihuahuas than pit bulls.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yes. Minnie is very tiny. Well, she's not very tiny. She's like 1/3 of Flynn's size, though. But she bullies him. Like they've got that small dog complex where they.
Watch out!
Ah! Thank you. But yeah, what were your thoughts on Far Cry? Both of you. Did you have anything?
I mean, I've never really been a Far Cry person. Really, it was I was just about to say it was really Far Cry Arcade that kind of brought me in.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed that. So I think at least the wacky weapons like the CD one you talked about, I've seen lots of people talking about that. That looks great. That's the kind of stuff that's going to bring me into it. You know, give me some kind of wacky bow and I'm in. And honestly, chorizo is going to really pull me into. So
Chorizo.
Have you ever had chorizo, nice. Steven? Have you ever eaten?
It's basically just Mexican sausage,
yes.
but yeah.
Oh man, it's a
spiced sausage.
So good. Yeah.
I like making chili with it.
Nice.
I've never thought to make chili.
But I think you said you said the golden word, I guess if you want to call it that. Far Cry Arcade. Do we think it's coming back?
How many of these how many Far Cry games have had?
5 introduced arcade.
I mean,
4 introduced co-op, but it was limited co-op. 5 was the first one to do full co-op, and then arcade. But it was such a hit.
I mean, obviously, I'd like to think that if it was a hit and if people really liked it, that they'll bring it back. But at the same time, I know Ubisoft doesn't always do that, and just because something was successful one time doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna want to do it again.
And yet they do that when they shouldn't. Like every time.
Right, exactly. So I don't have.
They learn the wrong lessons.
I don't have the utmost faith in them to actually, I don't know, to do that. So, but they could. They might. I don't know. I would definitely like it to come back.
I really hope they do. Arcade was.
I'd like to see it for sure.
It was so good. It was such a simple idea, but it worked so well. And I'm hoping that it wasn't just a product of its time, because you had things like Mario Maker and basically user generated levels from games that were all spurred on from stuff like Happy Wheels back in the day. And I hope that Ubisoft wasn't just being like, oh, games are doing this right now, so let's do it, because it was great. It was so fun. We got so many good streams out of that.
Well, I feel like it's a smart move for any game developer to create that, because it's essentially free content for their game that they don't have to create.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's minimal maintenance by the actual staff themselves.
It's the perfect EA/Ubisoft move / Epic Games move, because it's like, you do the work, we make the money.
Right.
It was good.
I definitely think co-op.
Think
co-op will come back. I have no doubts about that.
It will.
Oh, 100%. There's going to be co-op.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Oh, they're introducing the kid zombies. But to answer your question from earlier, Steven, I never really like. Well, we talked about it the other day. Is I kind of missed the whole like Far Cry
Yeah.
fandom. Like I guess that at the time they came out, I wasn't like into trying it. I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but Far Cry 6 definitely looks tryable.
I mean, the previous ones are fine. Like 5 had really solid gameplay, but a bare bones story.
Yeah.
4 just was meh, and 3 had a really great story but slightly aged gameplay. So I would recommend like
I think I got 4 for free on
probably.
PS4, and I tried it and was just like, yeah, I'm okay,
I'm okay.
because it was just
If you-
overwhelming.
Yeah, if you've still got Uplay Plus, we should maybe try 5 sometime because it's a fun play.
Yeah, I'm down.
Very good open world, really good gameplay. It's probably going to be pretty similar to 6. Also, the map based on it was not leaked, but I think there was a freeze frame in the trailer that showed the map. Looks pretty huge, and 5 was a very huge map. So,
Nice.
I'm excited to see how big the map is.
Yeah, it's supposed to be one of the biggest, right? Is that what you just said?
I think so. I don't know if any game has made a map that's quite as big as something like Ghost Recon Wildlands because that map was
Right.
massive. But I think it's going to be probably bigger than 5. I would think. But I don't know. I'll try to find that picture and send it to you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dying Light 2 while we're sitting here. You guys have been very excited.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Literally, y'all have had 2 streams lately that have just been like, we can't wait for Dying Light 2. So Dying Light 2 has been renamed Dying Light 2 Stay Human and will now be released on December 7th of 2021 on PS5, PS4, Xbox X, S, X1, and PC. Techland premiered a new gameplay trailer that showed off the current state of Dying Light 2 along with a story synopsis. Players will take control of Aiden Caldwell, a survivor trying to piece together his past. 3 factions are vying for power over the scraps of civilization. Aiden can work for or against each of these factions to help shape your story, but at night, all 3 factions are at the mercy of the zombies. The new gameplay trailer showed off some core mechanics like the parkour traversals, as well as the day-night cycle. While zombies roam freely during the night, their nests are empty, and venturing into these dangerous areas can reap great rewards. Combat can be tailored to your playstyle, whether that's focusing on melee, guns, or crafting. The world is also full of different NPCs you can choose to ally with or turn against, and it looks like Aiden might have to race against time if he wants to stay human. Both the new title and release date were officially confirmed in a Dying Light 2 stream. Pre-orders are now available. Blah, blah, blah. So they showed lots of new gameplay. Looks very fun. Something just before I let you guys dive into it, something that I'm looking forward to or am interested in with this is it seems like, and a lot of games always say this and then it doesn't really pan out, but it seems like
Choices matter.
choices matter. Yeah, it seems like your choices really, really matter. They showed specifically, I don't know what the context of any of it is, but they show you working with somebody and the water level in the city drops or in a section of the city drops. But if you go the other way around, it stays the same and you may never access that area again. So I thought that was very cool, how they made that work. But you guys, obviously y'all have played the first one and are playing it right now.
A little bit.
And y'all are very excited. So where do you guys stand on this? What do y'all think?
So the world, like I had this thought when, while playing this one and watching that stream, the world of Dying Light is so bleak. Like it's just a dark existence.
It really is.
Because like in this game, you're working so hard to save the people in this city, and in the end, it just really doesn't matter.
Yeah. It feels I will say though, throughout the entire thing, it feels like everything you do is like life or death for pretty much everybody
Yeah, and
in Huron here. So
a lot of the time it feels for nothing. And I'm saying that in a way to where it's like it's a good and a bad thing because it gives the game its own kind of identity, because the game does try to play it light sometimes. But the reality of things is that in this sequel, the GRE kept experimenting on the virus, and because they wanted to weaponize it, and something went wrong, and 98% of the world population fell to the
That
virus.
is crazy.
Yeah. So
yep.
in Dying Light 2, 98% of human existence, it's 28 years later. That's, or no, 20 years later. That's where we are. And so it's like, man, what kind of, like, I'm excited to see this post-apocalyptic world where they've started to rebuild, and I'm excited to see like where technology stopped and what's carried over. Like when you said guns in that description, that was straight from them, because I didn't know we even had guns in this game.
Wow.
Like in the sequel. I knew there was going to be like a bow and all the melee and stuff, but I'm glad to hear that guns are coming back if that's the case. But I'm very curious with the story, because this game's story was fine. Like it's kind of cringy with some of the voice delivery, but knowing vodka, it's got some Metro feel to it. But this sequel, I'm very interested to see this world,
Right.
knowing how bad things got, and that makes it, to me, like I really hope they are putting the money where the mouth is with choices mattering, because if there really is only 2% of human existence left from where this whole thing started, and obviously that number is shifted because it's been 20 years, but I really hope they do make it feel like choices matter, and that like it's a great opportunity for something that Last of Us 2 boasted. When you kill somebody, they feel like a person, because they're, like crying out for their friend or whatever. That this is a great time for them to take advantage of that, to where they could make every human
really matter,
feel
because
really matter, make it to where humans feel scarce. And that would be really cool if they did that. I don't know how plausible that is, because I don't know how, like, because in this game you spend a lot of time just kind of running around being like, bandit,
yes, yeah,
now you're dead.
That was something I was going to say. Watching what little I did of the reveal, I kind of laughed when they were like, yeah, that 2% of humans are left. And then they showed them fighting. First off, there's 3 factions, right, that you're joined up with, or that you can join up with. And then it was like, but some people are bandits and marauders, and they're just straight up bad or whatever. And it showed them killing them. Like, never once did I look at how many people were there and think what you just said of like, wow, there's really not many of them, or something like that. So
it's a great opportunity though for them to do that.
I hope
but
they
I guess
do that.
they could
I
get
hope
away
they do
with
that
it
in the game, and that this was just the poor pacing of a trailer where you see people all the time. It would be really cool if they did it where it is you only see people every once in a while.
Yeah,
like a giant map, and there's only like 4 settlements.
Yes.
Or something like that.
I think I remember them saying that in this game, like the city that it all takes place in is like the last bastion of humanity. So that's probably going to be their excuse, that it's going to be like, well, yeah, there's only 2% of human population left, but it's all in one place. So people are still numerous. That's probably what they'll do, but I don't know. I just thought it could have been interesting.
I'm not against it.
No. Yeah. It is just a thought. But the gameplay looks solid. This game's gameplay, I've been saying for a while, is easily top 3 favorite zombie games based on gameplay alone, because it just has such a good feel between mobility, combat, and difficulty, I guess. Because like night times don't mess around.
Yeah.
Like
no, you get anxious.
Yeah, you really do.
Like there's a lot of anxiety that happens.
We put a frowny face on the building with explosives. But yeah, I'm excited for it. It doesn't feel like a December game, but that's just the reality of things. I'm glad that they're not being like, let's push this thing out in October because it's got to come out in October. That's a good sign to me, that they're being like, this is the time we need, so let's make it happen. But yeah, Jeremy, what were your thoughts?
I was watching the cutscene. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I was just wrapping up my thoughts.
got
Did you have
zoned
anything
out.
to say?
I'm sorry.
What did you think of the reveals, Jeremy?
You talking about Dying Light
still.
2?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's this and
Back for Blood.
Back for Blood. Well, yeah, both of those.
Yeah.
I'm beyond excited for.
It's going to be a good season for zombie games.
Yes, and there just haven't been a lot recently.
Real, yeah,
And,
that's true.
I mean, there have been a few like
I
World
would
War
like
Z.
to remind the court that Days Gone also came out, and it was also fantastic. So
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not.
Was
But
it fantastic?
I would say yes.
It's
It was a
not a
little
multiplayer
long.
game.
It was a little long in the tooth. It overstayed its welcome, but it's really good.
And that's not me trying to like get you to change your mind. That's just me asking, like, legitimately, would you say it was fantastic?
I would say it was fantastic, and especially going back and kind of playing through some other sections to get the platinum. I would concur with what my formal statement.
Yeah.
My formal statement stands.
Were you saying something, Jeremy?
I completely agree that Days Gone is an awesome zombie game, but it is not a multiplayer
That's true.
zombie game.
Yeah, and that's
that's
such a
one of the biggest downfalls to that game for me.
It's zombie games. It really is such a big
the
deal.
map is gorgeous and I love it, but there's no multiplayer.
Yeah, if it's a zombie game and it doesn't have multiplayer, I want it to be something like State of Decay,
Yeah,
where it's less
or Last of Us.
or right, where it's either like a super emotional story, where it's more character driven and the zombies are just a symptom, or it's all about that element of survival where survival is a key aspect, like 7 Days to Die or State of Decay, where scavenging and supply runs and everything. Like that's what I want out of a single player
Every
zombie
decision
game.
and action that you make makes a difference.
Which is probably why I didn't care much about Days Gone, because it was more of just your traditional, from my understanding, because I didn't play it, but it was more of your traditional just third-person shooter that had zombies, but it was more focused on the story of the character and the progression of everything, rather than being mechanically driven, which is what I like out of zombie games, single player.
Yeah,
Man,
I'd agree.
do you guys remember there's a new zombie game, multiplayer zombie game coming out that a lot of people are comparing to Division?
Oh,
the day before. Thank you. We haven't
awesome.
talked about that
So
yet
good.
because normally when like a new game gets announced, I don't know, sometimes we'll talk about it, sometimes we don't. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good too. Because I think it looks a lot like The Last of Us if it was a multiplayer game and the gameplay was Division, is what it reminds me a lot of. So
it's given me more of a DayZ with the Division Code of Paint vibe, because it does seem like it's going to be an MMO-ish kind of deal where if a player sees you, you're screwed. But it looks beautiful, and I'm excited to see more from it. But it does seem like one of those games that we're not going to get for a really long time.
Well, and I'm looking...
And it's definitely going to be PC.
I see it's on Steam. I'm looking to see... Yeah, they just have coming soon, so you can add it to a wish list and stuff. But
yeah, that kind of just happened. So anyone in the chat, the day before, look it up. It had I think it was a game proof of concept kind of gameplay trailer, but it was like 12 minutes long. It looks awesome. I definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it looks really good. Speaking of things that look really good, let's talk about the Horizon Forbidden West State of Play.
But first, we're gonna wait for 5 hours.
I'm gonna actually start a video. It's a very special countdown that I've got started for you guys. I'm gonna start it.
There's not gonna be any talking.
No talking.
It's gonna be birds flapping in the
natural
distance.
sounds.
It's gonna be 10 seconds of Jeremy eating a sandwich. Then it's gonna cut to 10 seconds.
Just the sound effects, though. I'm not gonna say anything.
It's just gonna cut to security cams of us doing just very boring, mundane
of
things.
us doing just menial tasks, but it's the same menial tasks on loop for 5 hours.
All right, so real talk. Let me just air my grievances about this, because first off, to be real, it was some beautiful background, like atmospheric, whatever.
Yeah.
It looked great.
1000%.
It was very cool. But 5 hours. 5 hours was way too long for a countdown. if you were gonna do, especially that doesn't like show anything, like Pokemon did this thing, something very similar.
For 18 minutes
Well,
of gameplay.
they did a 24-hour live stream that revealed, I think, 4 new Pokemon, and it was just a 24-hour live stream that was from one camera perspective, and it was almost like a nature cam, and so different Pokemon would wander in and out. And I don't know how frequently they wandered in and out.
That's
but
mean.
oh my gosh,
that's
yes,
just mean.
And like I think that was when we first saw the Galarian Ponyta. Anyway, that I felt like surely most people would have learned their lesson after that, because I don't think it went over very well.
Well, maybe they did learn their lesson, and their lesson was that people talked about
That's
it.
true. That's true. And people are talking about this too, because everyone, well, and it's funny because Horizon, all I saw on Twitter was mostly people being positive of like, oh, this is so cool. Like, man, this looks great. But as soon as Far Cry did a 30-minute countdown, people were like, oh my God, why did people do it this way? Why did we do it this way? So I was surprised that Horizon wasn't getting more hate about it. But it annoys me because, and I don't have the receipts for this, but the first tweet I saw said, hey, come to our stream at 11 a.m. And I said, great, I'm going to be there at 11. I can't wait to watch this 14 minutes of gameplay. And I tune in and the countdown starts and I look at the top and see 5 hours. I'm like, I'm going to sit this out for like 20 minutes and see what happens. And sure enough, it was like, yep, okay, this is going to be 5 hours. So then I went to Twitter again and saw that they had shared another tweet that was like, hey, our special countdown has started. We'll see you back, or, be sure to hang out and watch it. But otherwise, we'll see you at 2 p.m. for the real show. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Or 5 p.m., whatever, 4 p.m., whatever it was. So I was just annoyed. I wish at the front end, and I've heard other people say that, oh, well, at the beginning they told us it was going to be, but I don't remember seeing hey, the countdown's going to start at 11, but the real show is going to happen at 4. I wish they had just been open and transparent about that at the beginning. But whatever. If anyone knows how to turn that countdown into a backdrop for a PC, hit me up. Let me know, because I would love to do that. But
so I understand, and I'm actually going to defend Ubisoft here.
You mean
like
Ubisoft or Guerrilla?
Okay. Yeah, Ubisoft. I'm going to talk about both of them. I understand why Ubisoft, and this is not something that just they do, but they are one that do it every time. But most other developers do seem to do this, where it's like, hey, this event starts at 11 a.m. And then the event starts and it's a 30-minute countdown. So the event actually starts at 11:30.
And that, I think, is a reasonable, I can reasonably expect that. But I sat and watched a 15-minute countdown for the state of play, and then there was a 5-hour countdown just to get to the end. Right. So,
but the reason that they do that, or a reason, and I'm going to connect this to Guerrilla because I just don't understand Guerrilla, other than the fact that it was controversial, and so they got free PR out of it. But the reason that it's reasonable and kind of smart to do it the way that Ubi did it with Far Cry, is because they want push notifications to be effective. Because if the event starts at 11, people get the notification of, hey, this is live right now. People who didn't know it was happening are going to miss some of it. So if it starts at 11 with the countdown, they're like, oh, okay, cool, I've got time, I can prepare. Because a lot of people, they don't know things are happening until they're right on top of them. So it's an effective way to make sure that it gets maximum visibility. So that's fine. That's the standard. But 5 hours, that's the exact opposite of how to do that. Because it's like, hey, you get your push notification 5 hours before the thing starts.
I completely, that makes a lot of sense. The whole push notification ideal. Yeah. But 5 hours,
30 minutes, an hour would have been fine. Not 5 hours.
For 18 minutes.
Yeah, and the stream did some cool things. Like it was progressing from day to night. Like it was a continuous cycle.
The visuals were fantastic. The whole idea of that was fantastic. But
and they added new cameras over time, which was pretty cool. Like every 30 minutes or so. But they could have done that in an hour.
I can guarantee that over 3/4 of it was just or at least half would be
Yeah,
repeats.
they could have shown you
Oh, yeah.
everything you needed to
There's
see.
no way
in
that they
30
had
minutes.
5 hours.
Or an hour even.
Yeah.
But whatever. All right, so let's talk about what they really showed off. So we got 14 minutes of
But the
yes,
gameplay, though.
yeah. So 14 minutes of new gameplay was really, really good. I'm trying to see. I've got a breakdown here of all the things that we saw. So we didn't get a release date, and we can talk about that. But Guerrilla has said that their development is on track, and they'll have an update for us soon. Let's just start here. I think it's very interesting that they're waiting on the date because obviously COVID, Last of Us Part 2 got bit in the butt pretty hard with them. They announced a release date and then like a week later had to delay it again. So I totally understand Horizon wanting to kind of hold back. But I also think it's funny because we're coming up on E3. And I do kind of believe too, and I thought it was weird when the state of play was even being announced. My thought initially was, why is this so early? Like, why is this so ahead of E3? Because obviously, I'm pretty sure Sony's going to do something around E3, maybe after or sometime during. But I'm assuming they're waiting. They're going to save the release date for an E3 event. That's kind of what I think. But I also think it's interesting that Breath of the Wild 2 is also floating around out there. And Breath of the Wild kind of, I wouldn't say stole the thunder, but it came out right after Horizon. And I think for a lot of people, it was, let's pick between the two. And I'm sure a lot of people came back to Horizon and eventually got to play it. Obviously it was a success. So I don't think it.
I feel like Horizon was one of those that was a huge sleeper hit.
But I think if Breath of the Wild hadn't come out right after it, like within a week, it probably would have done even better. So I do kind of think in the back of their minds somewhere, someone's saying, let's just wait, see what Nintendo announces, because maybe we can dodge it or maybe we can come after them this year. But I think it does have the upper hand of it was a success the last time. The first one was good. A lot of people have gotten to play the first one. It was free for a little while. So I'm hoping that'll get people playing this one. But
I personally feel like if they were hinging any announcement decisions on Breath of the Wild, they would have waited to show any of this after E3.
Well, it is weird that they went ahead and showed this, but I think they're just trying to build hype and build conversation. I'm assuming that they will probably announce a release date, if not right after Breath of the Wild is announced, at least right after E3 or during E3. But I could be wrong.
I think that PlayStation is poised to have in a great position to get the final word, and I think that's probably if they aren't, it's what they should be doing, to where they have a full-fledged state of play ready to go like a week after E3 wraps up, or a couple weeks or something, so that they can dominate what everyone's talking about after everyone's already kind of talked about E3. But I don't know, it would seem weird to me, because with me, just because I play devil's advocate, I guess it's because I play devil's advocate, I don't see Horizon and Breath of the Wild as big competitors, but I also didn't know until you told me the other day that they actually were in such a tight window of release to each other. But I have, crush, Jeremy, I'm so sorry. I've got you. But I have seen people compare the two, like from a game standpoint. I don't know if I really agree with that, because they do seem like, and again, just for the sake of argument, I guess having the conversation, people in chat, if you'd like to chime in as well, because having been someone who didn't buy into Breath of the Wild at launch, never even played Horizon Zero Dawn, do you consider them to be direct competitors, or do you think that, and this is just, I'm going to give more detail here because this is just my perspective, do you see it more as them not being competitors because they're both exclusive games for different consoles that are like, if it was Xbox and PlayStation, that's like, don't make me choose. But it seems like the PlayStation and the Switch coexist very
do.
well.
I
Yeah,
So like,
I wouldn't say they were direct competitors. I would say they were more. I mean, they're more comparable than competitive to
yeah,
me.
that would be what I'd
Yeah.
say. I definitely think there are comparisons you can draw. Obviously, I mean they're both
but it's not like a Battlefield Call of Duty
right,
situation.
right. I mean it's obviously there are, if you boil it down to its essence, there are some things you can compare. But Breath of the Wild, basically Horizon was probably the last open world RPG that happened before Breath of the Wild broke how those kind of games work and gave us a completely new standard for how those games go. And what I specifically mean about that is you can climb on anything and you can pretty much break the game. I mean, you can go about anything with whatever approach you want to go. I mean, if you watch people play that game today, I mean, the crazy stuff they figured out you can do with the physics in that game is insane. But literally, Nintendo just gave you all the tools you needed, and then said, "Go figure it out." Like you just take on this world however you like. And I think,
The
go ahead, Jeremy.
I was just gonna say the speed runs of
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild are
Yes.
ridiculous, but the people unlocking like the freeze and then they bash the crap out of a rock and then stand on it and launch it
Right.
and go
Yeah.
directly to Ganon's
Yes.
castle. It's just
So
the way they set up that game was ingenious, and it deserves the praise for sure.
So it's funny that you say that it kind of broke the way those games are done, because I do agree that it did kind of show up with this new way of like, you watch footage of Donkey, for example, playing Breath of the Wild, and he's doing all these crazy physics driven things, and you see all these things that like there are videos on YouTube that are like 25 things you still don't know that you can do in Breath of the Wild. Because there's just so much hidden,
Right.
just waiting. Oh my God, just waiting to be figured out. But can you? And again, this is posing the question: did it really break the genre? Because I don't really know if any other games have tried to emulate that aspect. None that I can think of.
An easy
that aspect of full openness and
none have, and I think that's because none have really taken the time to figure it out.
Yeah, it seems like all the other games were just like, we're going to pretend that we didn't see that, and we're going to still keep ironing out the same Ubisoft climb tower open world games that we've been making for years.
And
Assassin's Creed
well,
17.
and it's funny because if you watch the Horizon gameplay, I kind of laughed because one of the new things we did get to see is Aloy has what's called a shield wing, which is a technologically advanced glider. So she now has a glider, and a lot of games have taken that same kind of plucked that from Breath of the Wild and said, "Oh, let's give him a glider. Let's let him jump off anything and float." So I don't know. I think there's some comparisons to make, and
I guess Immortals Phoenix Rising did do a little bit,
Right.
but not near as much. But that's the only one I can think of.
I agree with you.
Which that is a
I
great
agree
game.
with you. I don't think anyone has really been able to pull it off quite like Breath of the Wild has.
Yeah, you're right. It's just interesting how few have tried. That's
Well,
all
I
I'm
think
saying.
few have tried, but everyone wants to. I think, if that makes sense. Like a lot of people, I mean, you can see that people have tried to. I don't know, like Immortals Phoenix Rising. I mean, we're just talking about it. I think they wanted to make a Breath of the Wild game, right? We see Genshin Impact. That's another great example of that game.
Oh, yeah, that one's trying to be
Right.
1-to-1.
And that one you actually can climb, correct? I can't really remember, but
Yes, you can climb anything. But to those, like Immortals Phoenix Rising was less trying to be like, hey, let's take what Breath of the Wild did that made it so unique and kind of redefining what an open world game can be. And it was more just like, hey, let's make a really fun, quirky Ubisoft open world game that looks a lot like Breath of the Wild, but it didn't really, it included a lot of the puzzle elements. It felt like a Zelda game, but it didn't have any of that, like, climb anything, go anywhere, physics-driven stuff that you see in Breath of the Wild. And then Genshin Impact kind of the same thing. It just looks a lot like Breath of the Wild. And there's a little bit of the physics stuff in terms of like being able to freeze things and whatnot, but like it doesn't really try very hard past looking like it. So I don't know, because to me the most interesting things about Breath of the Wild are what you were saying, how it had a true openness to it, but it seems like the thing that is being emulated is just its skin. I don't know. That's completely pointless to what we're talking about. I just thought that
it is interesting. It is interesting, and we'll have to see where it all comes out. Let's see. So just to continue, kind of going through some stuff. So Aloy, the sequel picks up 6 months after the events of Horizon Zero Dawn. Aloy has traveled west to investigate a mysterious and deadly blight, which is kind of the red viney stuff that we saw some in the gameplay, but also in the original trailer. Yeah, was there some in the 5 hours? I didn't watch enough of it to know. Okay,
I think there was.
I assumed there would be.
I think so.
Because that's really all we know so far. In the State of Play demo, Aloy sent her friend and returning character Erend into the remains of San Francisco.
On an errand.
He sent him on an errand into the remains of San Francisco to recover an important artifact. He gets captured by the Tinkith tribe, a rebel faction that has somehow learned how to override and control machines, and Aloy came to the rescue. The artifact Aaron discovers appears to show a map of with the coming storms, including the one that appears to be marked BARO and is approaching Aloy and San Francisco. Aloy has new and upgraded tools. We mentioned the shield wing. There's also the pull caster, which is like a hook shot type tool, which I think is fabulous. I think that was a great addition. I can't wait to see how it gets used more. There's a diving mask, so we got to see some of the swimming. That looks really good. She has her focus ability, which is getting an upgrade that will now show areas that are meant for free climbing. Oh, interesting. Okay. I missed the free climbing part. Furthermore, it gives her the ability to override more machines for mounts or combat. So there were these new kind of raptor looking machines that she overrid and got to ride. I hope she overrode them. I hope that they add more of those and that we get to ride more of those. There were some new weapons. Aloy had a ton of new combat options. Enemies will have weak spots that can be destroyed by using specialized ammo. Aloy can use a slingshot with adhesive grenades that can temporarily stall enemies.
Question.
Yes.
If it's a slingshot that has sticky grenades, how do the grenades not stick to the sling?
That's a great question. I would assume it has something to do with the velocity of...
She's got multiple canisters of Pam.
I thought you said ham.
I thought you said spam, and I was like, well, I mean, yeah, I guess spam could work.
Pam. Maybe I can solve this whole Pam thing.
There are also these powerful launchers that fire spikes that explode on impact. That was very cool. Smoke bombs, all the weapons... and all weapons can be upgraded. Aloy can pick weapons that were shot off machines. And then there are these trimmer tusks, which are the new like elephant dinosaur looking things. So those were really cool. It also showcased the pterodactyl, the pterodactyl like sunwing, the raptor like claw striders, and the alligator like snap maws and burrowers. Anyway, very cool. So just to start off our conversation, which we've been discussing a lot, but I thought it looked beautiful. The gameplay looked very samey. Obviously we just talked about some of the new tools and stuff, but as far as like weapons, like she had a slingshot in the first game. And it shot grenades and stuff. I think you could definitely say it was showing us new types of grenades. And stuff happening. Whatever the spikes are, that definitely looks like something new. So I'm excited to see what that can do. But it looked like just very much a better version of what they've already made. Yeah, which is what a sequel should be. It should just be it should improve upon everything from the first one. But what did you guys think? What did you guys see out of it?
I completely agree with what you just said. The combat, even during the stream, we were all talking in Discord, and I said the combat looked very fluid. You know how she's like slid next to him and like seamlessly went into melee attack.
Oh man, and can we talk about that that anime move that she did to take out that one brute? That was amazing.
Super cool. Like I was very, very impressed with it. But it's along the same lines for sure. But it definitely seems to be have those improvements in just the right areas that it should feel somewhat different, but still give you that like satisfaction of, hey, this is Horizon. Like,
knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Steven,
and
go ahead. Finish, Jeremy.
Go ahead. No, you're good. I played the crap out of the first one. Like, got every single campsite. I've done every single mission, like side mission, everything. So I love the game. So I'm ridiculously excited for the second one, and the fact that it definitely seems like a continuation instead of them trying to like remake the wheel.
Yeah.
You know.
I beat the first one, but I did not play it as much as you just described, Jeremy. I never played the DLC. I just never got back around to it.
I never played Frozen Wilds.
Breath of the Wild really, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into that conversation again, but Breath of the Wild for me definitely messed up my Horizon Zero Dawn experience, because I played Horizon Zero Dawn for like the 2 days it was out before Breath of the Wild came, and then it was game over. I played Breath of the Wild like a madman, and then kind of eventually came back to Horizon, but it was at the worst point. It was at that point of where, you know, oh, what was I doing again? Who is this person? Why do I care about these people?
Yeah.
And it just, you know, it didn't ruin it for me. It just was like, it was hard to get back into it. So I do hope
sure.
that Breath of the Wild, or I hope that one of them will step away from the other one. But Steven, you never played Horizon, but I know you watching this, you were kind of like, maybe I should give this a shot. Maybe I need to try it out.
I've always lamented Horizon because every time I see it, I've thought like, man, I would love this game if I just didn't have such a hard time playing like lengthy RPGs where you have to play like lengthy third person RPGs where you play as a female character. I just have a hard time connecting, like from an immersion standpoint. And like it's not a good reason.
I will say that not to cut you off, but I will say that this is one of the few times where they like play down the fact that she's a woman, and it's more just her being like a survivor.
Right. I've always liked Aloy because every time I've seen her, it's been like she seems like she's a really well written character. But it's just it's an immersion thing for me, and it's something that I'm just like, I really want to just be able to play it, but I've never tried, but I've just always been worried that I'd be like, I can't get into this. But I know that like if I could get into it, I would adore.
I mean, it really it feels a lot like Monster Hunter, to be honest with you, because a lot of the big monsters that you're fighting, they're long fights, and it is all about strategy and what do you have.
Some of the T-Rex fights. Yeah. Oh my god!
Or what was the bird, Jeremy? Do you remember the name? It was like the Thunderbird. Yeah. It's good, Steven. You should try it out. I've got it on my
and it's
PlayStation if I need to like let you remote play it or something.
Well, see, I didn't get it.
It was free.
Yeah. I didn't get it because I thought it was part of the PlayStation 4 games that you got for having a PS5. It was not. It was like
it came as like a, I forget what they called it, but it was like a
it was the like days of play thing.
Yeah, or like play at home, I think was what it was called, something like that.
Yeah, play at home.
So it was free for a little while. I went in and got it just to have a digital version of the game. Yeah. But anyway. And actually, now that I say that, I wonder if I have a physical edition still, because I could give you that, Steven, and you could just use that.
Yeah. I would take it.
Anyway, it's good stuff. I'm very excited about it. Hope they will get a release date sooner rather than later, but we'll see. That concludes our news section, and we've had a pretty good episodes so far. We've also gotten to talk about Steven's trip to not the zoo, but trip with the otters. So we've had a little bit of catch up in there. I'm trying to think. I feel like there was something I was playing. We had my first PC experience. That was terrifying. Really enjoyed that. Highly recommend you go back and watch that stream.
Did you?
It was definitely entertaining.
It was very entertaining. And actually, I'm getting a better hang of it now that I'm playing something a little bit calmer like Oblets here, which I'm not going to give thoughts on Oblets yet because I have literally been skipping every cutscene I see, and I have no idea what I'm doing or what's going on. So I've probably just ruined my own experience here, but I'll catch up. I'll figure it out. Steven, Jeremy, anything interesting you guys have been playing that's out of the ordinary or new or anything like that?
Pretty much just Dying Light.
You've been playing a lot of Dying Light, I know.
Maneater.
Oh, Maneater. How is that?
Yeah, tell me about
I've been playing Maneater. Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. You're literally a shark, and you have to eat things to evolve.
Nice.
And you actually get to choose like certain parts of your evolution. Right. So far, I only have the sonar, which I can just. I'm only level 2, so it's not like I've put a lot of hours into the game so far, but it's really entertaining so far.
I'm glad you like it. I've seen people talk about it, and it's mostly been positive whenever they are talking about it. So yeah. That's good to know. I don't know that I've been playing anything new either. Obviously, I'm playing Oblets, and that's new, but that's whatever. I have been watching the next season, the most current season of My Hero Academia, and it's very good. And Steven, I can't wait for you to watch it and for us to go see whatever the next movie is that they're going to launch. And I hope it doesn't.
Yep. Can't wait to see who gets one for all this time.
I can tell you who. I can tell you who it's going to be right now. But
it's going to be Grape Rush.
That would be. Didn't you get Grape Rush in?
His balls are 3 times as big. Yeah, I was so pissed. I got Mineta on the My Hero Academia mobile game, and I don't play it anymore because of that. That's not true. I was about to say
that's what did it for you. What did it for me is that they made it so easy to play on mobile and didn't consider that maybe someone would want to attach a controller to it or do something else to it and like give you the option to play with a controller. That's what ruined that game for me. I wanted to be able to play with a controller, and you can't. So that's what ruined it for me. But anyway, well, I think that's as good a place as any to end the podcast for tonight. Hope everyone has enjoyed their Memorial Day. Hope you've enjoyed the show. And also let us know in the chat what you think about this layout. I kind of threw this together last minute, but you can see Jeremy.
Aaron said
I really like it too. It's really cool. Steven, when we were setting it up, Steven was like, I don't know, Jake, it might be a little too busy. I added these boxes, which I need to perfect a little bit.
It looks a lot better with the separation.
Yeah,
for sure.
It does. So still some cleanup to do, but we'll get to it. We'll figure it out here eventually. So we're just slowly improving. You know what I mean? That's all this is. We're just improving slowly over time. So anyway, of course, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Chortle Cast, the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck you want to talk about. If you liked that, you can, of course, the podcast airs every Monday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. You can, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can like this video, share it with your friends, leave us a comment, all that good stuff. You can also, we also live stream on Facebook and Twitter. Both of those are at Chortle Games. You can like us, follow us there. And then we're also on Twitch at twitch.tv/Chortle_games. So feel free to follow us and do all of that. Also, I apologize in advance to anyone watching on Twitch who is still here. Our chat website has had weird issues. We haven't gotten any chat through it tonight. So apologize if we missed any comments there. Not that anyone who probably showed up and said hi and then never got talked to. Not that you're sticking around, but anyway, we live stream. The podcast isn't the only thing we do. We live stream usually on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. This week, I don't know when I'm going to be able to stream because, as usual, I'm still in my crazy, hectic life of my wife is pregnant, and I'm also incredibly busy shooting weddings. But we should have a live stream Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Steve and I can probably be a part of the Friday one unless I don't have a baby here at the time. So we'll keep an eye on that. My bets. Steven, have you placed a bet on when my child's going to be born?
Yes, I believe it was June 15th.
June 15th.
For a reason that has no sound logic attached
Well, that's
to it.
okay. There's no logic involved at all. So he's
June 15th? Yeah, it's
due
June 15th.
June 19th. All right. My money is on June 1st, which is tomorrow. So we'll see if I win out or not.
Oh, boy.
I've got a lot of money riding on this big germ. I got to make some moves. Got to make some things happen. Jeremy, you want to get on into this? When do
Icy
you
food.
wanna,
That's apparently a thing.
When do you June
June
10th. Okay. Funny enough,
Yeah.
Jeremy, that is Lee Allison, the day Lee Allison has her money on. So
Oh wow!
Really?
You got an in.
you've got an in. I mean, there's really,
She's the one having the baby.
I was just gonna say she's arguably one of the most important ones in this conversation.
Exactly.
So.
But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I really think he'll come this week, but he really needs to probably wait at least another week before he actually gets here. But we'll see. We'll check it out. We'll let you know.
Gotta keep cooking for a little bit.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know how it all goes. But anyway, that's going to be it for tonight's episode and the podcast.
By the way, just a quick thing about pregnancy that reminded me. You know that bear cat thing that I was talking about earlier? Apparently, the females can pause their pregnancy for 8 months at a time if they feel threatened.
What?
Yeah, they can just be like, this isn't a good time to have a baby. So they just stop
For
developing
how many
the child.
months at a time?
Up to 8 months at a time.
Dang. Like that's almost a whole pregnancy. Well, I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
how much. I don't know how
impressive.
much those bear cats have to be in pregnancy for, but
I need to look this animal up because it was a cute animal. It was long, like it was kind of big, but like it was really interesting. It had a lot of just interesting background to it.
I'm pretty sure Courtney found something she thought it was, but I didn't get to catch the name. So it will remain a mystery for the rest of time. So
I will do some
go.
research.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time. And Jeremy, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. We always love having you on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
man.
absolutely, man.
All right.
Love being
See you
here.
guys. Bye.